In this video, we're going to do derivatives of trig functions. So the basic kinds are derivative of sine x is cosine x, and the derivative of cosine x is actually negative sine x. So if we have the derivative of secant x, this would be the derivative of 1 over cosine x, which we can write as derivative of cosine x to negative 1 to make it easier. This will be, bring this to the front, minus 1. So we're going to use the chain rule and the product rule. So this will be negative cosine x to the minus 2 times the derivative of cosine x, which is negative sine x. So this negative and this negative will cancel, so you'll just left sine x on the top. Cosine x to the minus 2 is just 1 over cosine x squared. Sine x over cosine x is tangent x times 1 over cosine x. And 1 over cosine x is secant x. So you have secant x, tangent x. So you get the derivative of secant x is secant x times tangent x. The derivative of secant x, you can do a similar thing that we just did. So that would be negative cosecant x cotangent x. Derivative of tangent x, pretty interesting, is the derivative of sine x over cosine x. So let's use the quotient rule. So this would be low d high, which is sine x prime, which is cosine x, minus high d low, which is the derivative of cosine x is negative sine x, over d low, which is cosine x squared. So this will be cosine squared, minus and minus will cancel, be plus sine squared x over cosine squared. But this, using trig identities, this is just 1. So this is 1 over cosine squared x, which means that the derivative of tangent x is secant squared x. And finally, the last major trig derivative is derivative of cotangent x. So using similar logic to what we just did, this will be negative cosecant squared x. So that's the end of the video.